You're live with me, TSV, and I'm always everywhere you want to be. And tonight, y'all know the background. I'm in Tigo. If you don't know what Tigo is, it's Tiffany's Ego. This is my guest room at my house. It's also in the process of becoming an in-home studio, but that's where I am tonight. I hope y'all are doing good. I'm doing real good. Sorry I'm late. I was having some technical difficulties, but I'm about to try something new. Like right now, I'm currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, but I'm about to try to do this thing on Instagram as well. Let's see if it's going to go. Let's see how it's going to go. And I'm on Instagram as well. Hey y'all, hey. So I think I'm streaming everywhere right now, but now I'm trying to like work my visions. There we go. So, I hope you all had a good week so far. Today is just Tuesday. Tiff talks on Tuesdays or Thursdays. It's normally on a Thursday, but I've been going to Bible study at church. We've been having in-person Bible study, so I've been going to Bible study on Thursdays. So it's moved to Tuesdays. But what I'm thinking about doing is going from doing lives to pre-records. So if I do my pre-recorded things, I'm gonna pre-record and then go send them out on Thursdays. So that's what I'm working on doing. So this is February. This is definitely um, Love Month. I'm supposed to have had some guests, but I haven't been able to get any guests right now because my schedule has been so up and down. But no worries, I think I got somebody good, a few good people coming to you all before the end of the month. It's also Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to my people. And it's also American Heart Association Month. So we'll be talking about a few of those things just a little bit. But like I said, I hope everybody's had a good day. I hope you've eaten something good. And listen, go ahead, like, share, comment, um, so let your people know that I'm here. So, how was y'all Valentine's Day? How was it? Valentine's Day was the last Thursday. Some people celebrated on that day. Some people celebrated on the weekend. And how was y'all? Did you do anything? So if you're anything like me, I love romance. I'm a romantic person. Even though it may not seem like I am, I'm a very much so a romantic person. I love love. I love romance. I love being romanced. Um, and upon getting into my relationship, because those of y'all who know me know Tiff was single for a long time, and I was single and happy too, like living my best life. I wasn't single and looking, single and sad, single and saved and depressed. I was single and happy. And in my singleness, um, I had I had a few good Valentine's days, but upon getting into my relationship, I told my boyfriend, I was like, Valentine's Day is not a big deal. As long as I'm loved, I want to have the love. I want the just because romance. But baby, I later realized that I do like Valentine's Day and I do want to be romanced on Valentine's Day and every other day because it's Wednesday. You bring me flowers or some candy or a notebook to write in because I like to write and journal, even though I ain't consistent with it. But anyway, um, so this year, me and my beau, we didn't get to do what he had planned for us to do, but we did wind up going to a spot in the area. We went to, I was about to say the cigar bar. We did not go to the cigar bar. We went to, what's that? Shark Bar. We went to the Shark Bar and it was a Wednesday night, so they had karaoke. And y'all know I love karaoke. Now, we got there a little late, so I didn't sign up for it. But when I tell you that it was a show that night, it was a show. I had a good time. We ate pretty good food. So shout out to the Shark Bar. But are you all like me? So what I was saying is, yeah, I love romance, but Valentine's Day is very commercialized, like most holidays. And for me, I used to work in the restaurant industry. I worked in hospitality. So it's a stressful time. And I know now my restaurant that I managed was not a big restaurant, it was small. But even in being a small restaurant, let me tell you, I realized that I would rather go to a small restaurant on Valentine's Day or stay in that day or even that weekend because things can get so crazy and so hectic. They give you food specials. Now, the restaurant I manage, we had a food special, but most places that do food specials for holidays, they're trying to like give food out or trying to. We weren't like that. We genuinely had good specials. So I had already said if we weren't doing nothing major, I was gonna go to Calvert and go to the Mexican restaurant that I like and call it a night, okay? Because it's just such a hassle going out that night. And I was talking to my cousin, and she said restaurants were booked. She's in Richmond. Restaurants were booked in January, like a month in advance. So, shout out to all those working in the hospitality field. I hope you all made some good money that night. I'm sure the businesses did, but I hope the servers made good money that night as well because baby, they were booked and busy. Now, I'm about to say Bonefish. I'm all over the place with the restaurant I went to. I went to Shark Bar. Shark Bar was not very packed, and I loved it. It was a good vibe, a good atmosphere. We had a good time. So that was my Valentine day or night. And then my babies. Let me go back. Y'all know I work with first graders. They loved on me so hard. I got so much candy hearts, so much chocolates. I got a few teddy bears. I got mugs. I got cups. And I'm telling you, the babies loved on me, and I loved on them right back because we had a Valentine's Day party. But what they did not know is they trying to make Miss Vincent slip up because Miss Vincent trying not to eat so much sugar, trying to get my suckles, trying to make sure my numbers stay good. But I'm gonna tell you, I had a ball. Definitely had a ball. I still have like 5 chocolate hearts to eat, and I'm gonna try to break it down without the candy getting stale. But that was my Valentine's Day. I hope you all had a great one. And y'all know Tiff Talks this month is about matters of the heart. And even though Valentine's Day has passed, we're still going to talk about love, relationships, and all that good stuff. But when I talk about matters of the heart, I want to speak on it because, like I said, this is the National American Heart Association Awareness Month. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about the American Heart Association. It has grown into the nation's oldest and largest volunteering organization. Did y'all know that? So many people volunteer for the American Heart Association, and I think that it's so great. And it's dedicated to fight heart disease and stroke. Now, some more information about it is it focuses on cardiovascular health, and it unites more than 35 million volunteers and supporters, as well as more than 2,900 employees. So, shout out to the American Heart Association. Did you know that heart disease, and I bet you did know because we talked about it the last time on my Tiff's talk, but I have to bring it up again. But did you know that heart disease is the number one killer worldwide, followed by strokes? And that's a part of heart disease as well. But strokes are ranked the second globally. And even if your cardiovascular or heart disease doesn't kill you, it changes the quality of your life dramatically, or drastically. I said so. Those are just a few a little bit of tidbits or information about the American Heart Association. If you want more information about it or to become a volunteer, please go check them out at www.americanheartassociation.com. You can be a volunteer, find where your people or in your state, your town, where you can volunteer and volunteer with the American Heart Association because there are so many things linked to heart disease. Like I talked about the last time, we talked about high blood pressure, we talked about stroke, we talked about we touched a little bit on mitral valve prolapse, and that's a disease that not a lot of people know, but I know about it because my mommy has it. But she does. She's doing very well. But there are so many things that can affect our heart, like the way we eat, the way we sleep, or lack thereof. Preaching to myself because y'all know I'm a night owl. I'm up all times of night. But definitely the way we work out or our physical health and well-being. But tonight, I'm going to take a pause to talk about something or a matter of the heart that we don't really talk about that can cause us to get sick as well. And this is touching home for me because my where I'm from, we're going through a loss in our town. Did you know that grief can cause you to have heart problems? Yeah, you heard me. I said grief. Grief is a number one is not a leading cause of heart problems, but it is a major. It can be a major part of having a heart or a matter of the heart, a heart issue or a matter of the heart. And I want to talk about grief tonight, just for a little while, because a lot of people, well, everybody, in a sense, is going to deal with grief. Um, but a lot of people don't know how to deal with grief, and because you don't know how to deal with grief, it can make you sick and cause a matter of the heart. Um, Now, well, of course, if you don't know what grief is the strong sense of emotion that you go through when you lose someone or something. Oftentimes, we don't. We when we talk about grief, we talk about losing someone, being sad over someone dying. But grief can come from losing someone who, like, you broke up with, or a friend that moved on, and grief can also come from losing a job, or um, losing something in your life, not being where you want to be in your life. And when I tell you it can cause major setbacks, it really can cause major setbacks. And this is important to talk about tonight because I know that some of my viewers may be dealing with grief because my hometown has been hit with loss after loss. And I'm not gonna put nobody's business out, but if you're on social media, you know who passed away, and it was kind of sudden. Also, I have a family friend who lost his son, and it got me to thinking, like, and even wanted to talk about how we grieve and how we deal with things. Now, oftentimes when you lose somebody, sometimes you can have, it's like a variant of emotions. Either you're the person who is not emotionally strong and you cry and you like pass out and life cannot go on, or you are the person that has to, I'm going to be strong because mama and them, aunt Jean them want me to be strong, and I got to be strong for everybody. I got to be there for everybody. I got to take care of everything and everybody. I got a funeral to plan. I got to be strong for the kids. I got to be strong for my wife. I got to be strong for my cousins and them. I got to be strong for everybody. And you don't deal with grief. So I'm here to tell you tonight that on this good love Valentine romance month, matter of the heart, Black History Month, that it is okay to grieve. I'm gonna sit this right there for a second. It is okay for you to feel every emotion that comes along with grief. You don't have to be the one, this one, that breaks down and like can't go on and lose everything. But here I am. I can't tell you how to grieve, and nobody else can tell you how to grieve, what to do, or how to feel. But there's a balance in it all. And you also don't have to be the person that has to stay strong and be strong for everything and everybody. Because when you don't balance out your emotions, you tend to lose yourself, and it can make you sick and cause a matter of the heart. And I'm not telling you something I don't know. I'm telling you something that I do know, that I know on a personal level about grief, and not really making you sick, but sometimes when you don't deal with grief and you don't grieve properly, and whatever is properly to you, I can't tell you what is proper to you to grieve, but if you don't do it, it comes back around and knocks you on your behind. And I'm telling you something that I know because back in 2003, so in 2002, my grandfather passed away. I was in going to 11th grade. He passed away July of 2002. I was going to 11th grade. But my grandfather had lived a good life. He lived a long life. And I was okay. But lo and behold, that very next year, 2003, June of 2003, God took a piece of my heart, which was my Aunt Marcia. Listen, I didn't even get on this Tips Talk to talk about like my personal. I just wanted to talk about grief, but I figured this would be good to tie in. Um, so my aunt Marcia passed away and was kind of sudden. She went in the hospital to get a graft put in her arm and a stent put in her arm to start dialysis. And we went to the hospital to visit her. Sorry if this is a trigger warning for my family. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to talk about it, but here I am. So this is a trigger warning. If you can't deal with it, if you don't want to talk about it, turn this part off. Y'all come back. I'll text y'all when to come back, okay? But anyway, uh we had went to visit her in the hospital and she was fine. She was about to be getting out of the hospital and it was close to the 4th of July. We were talking about where we were going to go for the 4th, what we were going to do. And me and my mother was in there and she just started talking out of her head. um and long story short, she wound up having a blood clot travel, bleed on and had an aneurysm on the brain. So my 16-year-old self was still trying to understand and process. And I'm like, well, because it's like she was brain dead. Trigger warning for those who are watching. We're talking about grief. We're talking about death. Um, but I promise it ain't gonna be that, we ain't gonna be that heavy and that deep for too long. But I just had to talk about this because there are a lot of people that don't know how to grieve. And when you don't know how to grieve, you bring more sickness and disease onto yourself. And that can cause a matter of the heart. So I'm like, she's gonna be fine. We're gonna pray. Cause listen, I was a praying woman since I was little. I've been praying my whole life. But anyway, and she passed away. And I had a little cousin. I had a big cousin. I had a mother. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be. I had siblings because my aunt was like me and my brother and my sister's second mom. We were always with my auntie. So I'm like, be strong. We'll be there for her. Da, 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 da. Life goes on. And I missed my aunt so much, but life was going on. But y'all, it wasn't until I moved to Bowie to attend the illustrious Bowie State University. Shout out to the HBCU of Bowie State University. This Black History Month. It wasn't until I moved to Bowie and God had like done some miraculous things in my life. Within the first month of living there, like I wound up getting an apartment. And like my first night at my apartment, y'all, I lied to you not. And now I moved to Bowie in 2008. My aunt passed away in 2003. So we're talking 5 years or 4.5 years. So I moved to Bowie January of '08. She passed away July, June of 2003. Y'all lied to you not. I picked up the phone to call my aunt to tell, like, dial the number for 4.5 years about the things that God had been doing for me. And that's when I broke down 4.5 years later. And it was not pretty. And y'all, I had to do it by myself because my mom and them won't there, sisters won't there, cousins won't there, my church people won't there. I had just moved to Bowie, just moved on campus, didn't know a soul, and I had to go through it alone. And that's when God was showing me that it's okay to grieve. Whatever grieving looks like to you, it's okay to do. So I'm encouraging those who are dealing with the loss of a loved one tonight. It is okay to grieve. And how does this relate to a matter of the heart? Because according to the American Heart Association website, can be. We talk about it, we laugh. We've heard about the older people who the husband might die. The husband might die one week, and the wife might die another week from a broken heart. And you like, that can't be true. Is that true for real? True syndrome, and that is according to the American Heart Association. So let's talk about what broken heart syndrome is. It is real, and we experience it after a major loss, and you can die from it. So when you hear about those older couples who have been together forever, they've been together since their teenage years, and one dies and the other one dies of a broken heart, it is real. Broken heart syndrome is real. Having heart problems, because another thing that's associated with grief is high blood pressure. Did you know that? Did you know that if you're not grieving properly or however the case, that you can have high blood pressure? it can cause of sickness and death, or sickness, disease, and death when it comes to matters of the heart, or heart matters. And this is not Tiffany. This is according to the American Heart Association page. Broken heart syndrome, and one can die from broken heart syndrome. So that's just a little bit of a tidbit of information about that. Oh, before I go, because it is Black History Month, let me tell you about the African Americans, or the Black folk, y'all, that sit on the board of directors of the 2023-2024 board of directors for the American Heart Association. We got some in there, y'all. It's some of us in there that look like us, that know that sometimes matters of our heart may be a little bit different. And I know that's a whole different conversation. I'm not saying black is better, white is worse. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, sometimes when it comes to health conditions of African Americans, they are much more drastic and different than ones of any other race. So it is good to have some of us that sit on these boards and board of directors and things of that nature when it comes to us and our health. So Marsha Jones is a chairperson for the American Heart Association. She sits on the board. Michelle Keith Churchill. He was the president elect. Linda Gooden was the treasurer. Gerald Johnson was the EVP, Office of Health and Equity, and the chief diversity officer. And you have Katrina McGee, who is executive vice president and chief of marketing, the chief marketing officer for the American Heart Association. So shout out to us being on there. Happy Black History Month. And I'm so glad we have some diversity and some of us being represented on the board for the American Heart Association. But like I said, let me go back right quick. Grief is real for all of those who are dealing with grief. Let me tell you, I said it before and I say it again. There's nothing wrong with you feeling the way you feel. Nobody can tell you how to feel at this time, and everybody is different. Go ahead and do it. Within reason. We don't want you going out drinking, smoking, and killing yourself or hurting yourself. But whatever it looks like, because sometimes grief looks like someone crying, and sometimes grief looks like serving. I can also speak on that because when my friend Portia passed away, um, everybody was expecting me to break down or like have a moment, but I lived my life for her memory, for her legacy. That's how I grieve. So everyone grieves different. It looks different for everyone. So everyone grieves different. Some people stay in a broken place for too long. And for those who say that it gets easier, it doesn't. For those who say time heals all, it does heal. But there, you may miss them, or another part of that comes along with living and moving on. Because sometimes there are points and times in your life where you grieve because you miss them. And then there are going to be points and times in your life where you grieve because you're having a happy moment around their death anniversary, or around their birthday. You may feel like you're doing them a disservice or disjustice because you're living your life. But I'm here to tell you to just watch your heart and the matters of your heart, because a broken heart syndrome is a real thing. But talk ain't nobody heart more broken than my girl. Have y'all been keeping up with what is going on, what is trending on TikTok? Now we were just talking because let me tell y'all, if nobody else that had a broken heart, my girl, or if you think you know who I'm talking about, but I know y'all know if you, into TikTok. It's on YouTube. Her broken heart, baby. So her name, I don't know what her real name is, but on TikTok, her name is Risa Tisa. That's, y'all go look her up. Risa Tisa some money off of her broken heart. Let me tell you. So if you have been living under a rock and you don't quite know who Risa Tisa is, because I got to get my other screen together. I got multiple screens, y'all. Name of a young lady that is on TikTok, and we just talked about a broken heart, but sis, she said her heart was broken, but from the stuff that she went through, I know she had to be brokenhearted. So she is doing this. I can't call it a documentary or docu series because it's on TikTok, but she's doing clips and she entitled it "Who the F Did I Marry?" Now I ain't gonna say y'all know Tiff cuss, but she said who, and you look at one it said who did I marry, baby? Okay, now I haven't finished it. It's like 50 parts, y'all. It is 50 parts to what she is talking about. And when I tell you I am just as invested as everybody else. Okay. So Risa Tisa, she has, like I said, 50 parts about who the F did she marry. But it's called who, but y'all, she gave us a in on her life with the dealing with the narcissist. We know all too well when it comes to narcissists, all, all that is. But uh, when I tell you sis broke that thing down, she broke it down really good. So I'm only going to talk about where I am. So um, she talks about she meets a guy on Facebook sites. stage. There we go. So I gotta get my lighting together. Ooh, she back. All right. So I was telling y'all about Risa Tisa. Run down again, just a little quick run overview. So she is a young lady that is on TikTok, and she has a story called "Who TF Did I Marry?" And y'all know TF, what y'all know what it stands for. Okay, I ain't got to spell it out for y'all because y'all know. Um, and I was telling y'all that she met this guy on Facebook. She met him on Facebook dating and Hinge. They matched on both places. They had a little datey date. He was everything that she thought. He was a biz not ease. He was handsome. He was this. He was that. He was all of the above. Boom boom pow. Right. So they started dating in March. This is March of 2020. Or February. They moved in together around March or April. She found out she was pregnant in May, lost the baby in June. Okay. At this point in time, he is living with her because of COVID. He was new to the Atlanta area. He had a good job. She saw how much man was making. Whoop de whoop what, right? Okay. Here it's sticking up, y'all. Because it's how good it is. It's juicy. It's really good, right? So anyway, he started promising her this house because they automatically knew they wanted to get married, this, that, and the other. They weren't trying to waste no time. And all of us who survived COVID time, we know that COVID time was a little bit more rapid and faster. Things were a little bit different during COVID time. But I don't know if I would have moved as fast as this. But I ain't judging her because we all, as women, we done been sometimes we lead with our hearts and not our minds sometimes. And the word said the heart is desperate and deceitfully wicked, who can know it? Or the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked, who can know it? Y'all know what the word. Y'all know, my Bible scholars, y'all can correct me. Go ahead, correct me in my thing. But that's the word. But anyway. Um, so sis loses she lost her baby. He was not really there for her for that. She really didn't know his family, but she was talking to them. She would hear them on the phone. She would talk to them on the phone. They went through the ringer about getting a house. She wanted them knowing one time that he wasn't trying to get the house. But as we women oftentimes do, we make excuses for things. And that's no judgment to sis, because I done been there. We could see the red flags. She called it a united nation of red flags. We can see the red flags, but sometimes in our mind, it's like we colorblind, red, green, colorblind, or something like that, because we confuse the red for green, or we just ignore those signs altogether. So she talked about him saying he was going to buy her a house. Needless to say, she never got the house. He said he was going to buy her a car. She didn't never got the car. And that's kind of, he had an ex-wife in California who had two kids. They were like older kids. And it wasn't his kids, but he loved them like his own. I haven't gotten that far to find out, if those were really his kids or not. And if y'all have, go ahead, drop it in the comments, but don't spoil it for me, because I told y'all I'm only on like 15. But so yeah, if you have some free time, or even if you don't, head over to TikTok and check out Risa Tisa. Her name is Ressa. Let me make sure I get it right. Ressate. Hold on. Reesa. Cause sis is dropping some information. Like, I feel for her. And I'm so glad that her broken heart didn't lead to broken heart syndrome and take her out, because we know from talking about it previously that broken heart syndrome is a real thing and it can take you out. Now, what I think is fascinating is she has millions of viewers on just like on her second video. She has 1.2 million views. And if she's smart, which I know she is, she's monetized. So whatever that $750,000 loan that bruh had got for the house, she has surpassed that, because if she has monetized, let me tell y'all, for all of us who are content creators, we need to take a page out of Miss Risa Tisa's book and monetize and tell our stories of what we're doing. Because I know I think TikTok gives you $1 per 1,000 views or something like that. And then when you start getting bigger views, you get maybe like $5 per view. And I just said on one video she had 1.2 million. So y'all do the math. I ain't a math whiz. My friend, my cousin, family, brother, whatever, Michael Dunstan is a math whiz, but y'all can figure it out. 1.2 million views on one video, and she has 50 of them. And she didn't even do this to monetize. She didn't do this to get rich. She just wanted to tell her story and share what she had been through with a narcissist. So if you have nothing else to do, or even if you do have something to do, put it on in the background after you listen to Tiff's talk. Put it on in the background and listen to her story, because baby, it is getting so good and deep. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody from Tubi or Lifetime or BET Plus want to pick that thing up and make it a movie, because baby, it is juicy. And I ain't even got all the way through. I'm on 15. So how many more is that? What, 45 more to go? No, 35 more to go. Told y'all I want a math whiz, but my kids at school think I am. um So yeah, y'all head and check that out on TikTok. Now, with it being Black History Month, I did last time we talked about a Black history person, or a person from Black history, Henry Box Brown. And if you don't know about Henry Box Brown, if you happen to be under a rock when I talked about Henry Box Brown, you can go back and look at my last Tiff's talk and find out more information about Henry Box Brown. And if you don't want to do that because it's at the end, y'all go look him up, because he is somebody very interesting to look up. Okay. But tonight I want to talk about the living legend, Michael Jordan. And I'm not talking about Michael B. Jordan. I'm talking about the Michael Jordan. I want to talk about him a little bit tonight because, as I shared with my kiddos last week, Michael Jordan's birthday just passed, but last week it hadn't happened yet. Michael Jordan's his birthday was on Saturday. That was February the 17th. He was born in 1963. So we know a bunch of information about Michael Jordan, right? And I had everything pulled up, but because I had to switch views, um, because I had to switch my views, things are a little bit different. But I think I might be able to share my screen so you can see the information that I have up about the Michael Jordan. And this is kitty information, because this is just the stuff I looked over with my kiddos. But I mean, hey, why not share it with you too? Let's see if I can find it though. But of course, we know Michael Jordan is a basketball player. He played for the Chicago Bulls for a number of years. We know that he retired twice from basketball. He played professional baseball, and he won 6 championships. And you still have so many people like LeBron James chasing to be better than Michael Jordan. But I will tell you the information that I have written down, and then hopefully I can share my slide and you can see my slide that I have up. But Michael Jordan, of course, I told you his birthday was February 17th. He was born in 63, so that makes him 51, 61, right? 53, 61, or 62. Y'all, don't give me no lie. Let me do my math correct and tell you how old this man is for real. But Michael Jordan was born in, did y'all know he was born in Brooklyn, New York? And he lived in Brooklyn for a little while, but he was raised in Williamton, North Carolina. North Carolina. Why can't I talk tonight? Wilmington, North Carolina. um, but I'm trying to do my math correct. And I could have probably just looked up how old is Michael Jordan, right? But anyway, um, what a lot of people didn't know, because I didn't know, Michael Jordan he looked up to his big brother and his big brother Larry. inspired him. So Larry's number was number 45. And did you know that Michael Jordan got the number 23 from splitting his brother's jersey number in half and rounding up? So he split the 45 and rounded it up and came up with the number 23. Michael Jordan did not make his basketball in North Carolina. He didn't make his team his sophomore year. Did y'all know that? He did not make the team, and he didn't become famous in basketball until he went to North Carolina, the Tar Heels. Now, he was known as Mike, right? But he didn't become Michael until he hit the winning shot in 1982 for the championship game against the Georgetown Hoyas, I think it's they're called. Yeah, Georgetown Hoyas. So Michael Jordan did do that. And in 1984, he was the number 3 draft pick overall. And I was like, who came in above Michael Jordan? Well, it was Akeem Olajuwon that came in before him, and also Bowie, Mr. Bowie. I can't see y'all. Sam Bowie. So Akeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie came in above Michael Jordan in the 1983 draft pick. And did you know that also in this class, it was Charles Barkley and John Stockton. So that was pretty good people that came out of the 83 draft pick. In that 1986, Michael Jordan went back to North Carolina to finish his degree and he graduated. Did y'all know he majored in geography? Who would have thunk it? I wouldn't have. Because most of the time, a lot of the athletes, when we think about athletes, we think about them majoring in communications. They be shading us comm majors and be like, all the athletes do comm because they don't want to work hard. But communication might not be as hard to some people, but when you really want to do it, it can be a little bit difficult. But more about Michael Jordan in 19. Oh, we already talked about him being the third draft pick in 1984. Um, his highest scoring game with 69 points in a game of overtime, and the Chicago Bulls had 117 to 113. Oh, I lost my light. 117 to 113. And I want to say they played the Utah Jazz in that game. Michael Jordan has only scored over 60 points 5 times in his career, right? Shocking, because I mean, now we have so many people that showboat and show out and show off. So it's like scoring 60 points is nothing nowadays, right? But Jordan only did it 5 times in his careers. There's my light. Walk in the light. More about Michael Jordan. Did you know that his favorite basketball arena? You probably didn't, because I didn't know it was Madison Square Garden. Did you know that? Because I didn't know that. There's my light. And he is the second time retired in '98. He won. He shot the winning buzzer beater ball, and that was against the Jazz. So that's some information about Michael Jordan that you may not have known. We all know that he has 6 rings. We all know that he's a franchise multi-million, billion, trillionaire with Jordans. Like, I actually got my first pair of Jordans this Christmas. I was calling them the Concords, but they're not Concords. Because they were the same shoes that came out called Concords that I wanted in 2019, but they're not the Concords. I can't even remember the name of the shoes now, but I got my first pair of Jordans this past Christmas. What do they call, y'all? Drop it in my thing to let me know what them shoes are called. But I like them, and they're actually pretty comfy as well. So we know that Michael Jordan has done that. He loved the game of golf, so he's been taking golf by storm. We know that he tried to play. He did play for a professional team, baseball team, but he didn't do too well. He has other philanthropy work that he does. He also was a movie star, and I got the opportunity to introduce this movie to my students. It was one of my favorite movies when I was a little girl, which was Space Jam. And they did that whole created that whole movie around him. And I mean, LeBron came and did it later, but Michael Jordan did it first. So that's just a little bit of information on Michael Jordan. Now, speaking of Michael Jordan, did we did anybody? Because I know I didn't. Did y'all see him at this? What we know is the All Star games this past. Did anybody watch that? Did y'all? When I talk about a hot mess express, so I'm not like condescending or contrary, really. But sometimes I play devil's advocate, and I was talking to my boyfriend, and he was like, it's horrible. The All Star games were it's been going downhill since LeBron." But yeah, don't tell him. I know he probably watching, but don't tell him. But he was right. So I thought it was just me because I'm gonna be real honest and frank with y'all when it comes to basketball. I love basketball. That's one thing that me and my granddad used to do when I was little. We would watch basketball together, and I loved Phil Jackson as a coach because Phil Jackson coached Michael Jordan. And I bet you didn't know that Michael Jordan made the decision for Phil Jackson to be the coach. He said he won't play for nobody else but Phil. So let me bring it back to what I was talking about. I love Phil Jackson as a basketball coach, right? Loved him so much that when he left and went to the LA Lakers, so did I. It just so happened that when Phil went to the Lakers, the new up and coming basketball star went to the Lakers too, which was Kobe Bryant. And even though I was younger, I had been kind of following Kobe when he was coming into the league, because I don't know if y'all remember, or you may not even know, that Kobe Bryant went with Brandy to prom, because Brandy really didn't have a prom and he had kind of been on her show. And I was following that, the Moesha show. So I was following Kobe Bryant, and when he came into the league, I absolutely loved the way he played. But for years, I was in denial that I was a Kobe Bryant fan. I'm like, I'm a Laker fan, which I was. I was definitely a Laker fan. But I loved Kobe Bryant. He was one of my favorite players. So I was all invested. And at the time when I was in, like, when I met my friend Corey, we used to watch basketball together all the time. So I was invested in basketball, but I loved Kobe Bryant. That's my truth. And after Kobe, not even after he died, but after he left the league, like, a little piece of my heart left too. So to be honest, I know there's some amazing players out there, but I haven't really found a home since Kobe left because, like I said, I was a Kobe player, a fan, but not like a Laker fan. And I thought that maybe it was just me being biased after Kobe left the league that I couldn't really get into the all-star weekends and stuff like that. I mean, I watched them. I watched every one of them since Kobe left the league. I mean, now he's gone, RIP Kobe. But y'all don't tell Key that I said that this sucked, because this all-star weekend was a hot mess. I didn't watch the celebrity game, but I know y'all heard the juices going around about that. So allegedly, the NBA had asked Chris Brown to play in the celebrity all-star game. And everybody that knows Chris Brown knows that he's a major hooper, like, he's really good. But allegedly, because I don't know, and Ruffleson came out and said something different, but allegedly, Chris Brown was asked from the NFL, from the NBA, not to even that he couldn't be in the All Star games, because if he did, Ruffles was going to pull out. So Ruffles was the major sponsor, or the major sponsor for the NBA Celebrity All Star Game. But Ruffles then put out a statement, and you can look it up. It's on the Shade Room. It's everywhere. You can Google it. This ain't Tiff talking. This is just telling you the information. Ruffles then put out information saying they didn't have anything to do with Chris Brown being asked not to play in the Celebrity All Star games, because they didn't have prior knowledge to they didn't have prior knowledge to who was going to be on the team, who was the rosters, who was playing, or none of that. So I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was the NBA, was it Ruffles, was it whomever, but they are still treating my man Chris so bad. Now let me tell, this is a disclaimer. I am not saying that Chris Brown hitting, beating, or abusing Rihanna was correct. I am not saying that at all. But what I am saying is we have to handle things with a certain amount of grace. And that boy was young, and that was like, what, 10, 15, 16, 17 years ago? And he's still being penalized for that now. Um, so that was a little bit of drama around the NBA All Stars. And then you had, bless her heart, you had little Jennifer Hudson, who I think she played in Celebrity All Star games. And then she did her little song. I think Jennifer has a great voice, but I don't know what's going on right now. She's in the spotlight because of Common. I don't know what it is, but she performed at the halftime game for the Sunday game. The Saturday night stuff was it was just a little bit mediocre to me. I don't know if that's how you feel, but that's how I feel. The All Star Weekend happened at the home of the Indiana Pacers. They had a Pacers team that consisted of Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, I think I said his name right, and Miles Turner, and they won against the team top picks, which was Orlando's Paolo Banchero, and Anthony Edwards and Victor Wimber Win. Yeah, I'm botching this name. Victor Wimbenyama. And it was they also had Team All Stars, which was Scotty Barons, Tyrese Maxey, and Trey Young, and that was for the Kia Skills Challenge. Then you had Damian Lillard, who defended his title in the 3-point contest, and that was brought on by Starry. Y'all remember? Y'all know what Starry is? Starry is what used to be Sierra Mist, a Pepsi brand, but it's now called Starry anyway. But Halliburton, he beat Halliburton, and then they also had like a kind of different thing going on with the 3-point contest because they had Steph Curry go against New York Liberty. Oh, Steph Curry's from the Golden State Warriors, if y'all didn't know. They had him go up against the New York Liberty star Sabrina Ionescu in a 3-point challenge. Steph came out on top, but it was a pretty good game. Now, this daggone All-Star game on Sunday was a hot mess express, okay? So I'm gonna say it's a hot mess express, but nobody was playing for real. Me and Keith talked about it. I tried to be like, no, I was playing devil's advocate, but it was a game of 3-pointers, and nobody wants to just watch people shoot 3-pointers all day. As impressive as it is, the East wound up winning. It was the largest scoring game ever for NBA All Star game. It was like 211 to 186 because all they were doing was shooting 3 points, shooting 3 points, shooting 3 points, shooting 3 points, and it was not impressive at all. And this is coming from somebody who loves basketball. There was no defense played, and I mean, I know you don't want to play too hard because you don't want to hurt yourself. This is still mid-season, and you still have to go through the rest of the season, playoffs, and all that jazz. But back in the day, do y'all remember watching the All-Star games when we really had defense? Like they were kind of playing street ball. It was excited. You saw some stuff that we saw growing up on And1. I don't know if y'all remember And1 games, the mixtape. Well, And1 mixtapes, but it was the And1 games, and they were doing some like brilliant basketball where things that would have been illegal in the league. But we saw that's the era I grew up in. The era I grew up in, they wanted to play, they wanted to defend, but 211 to 186, ain't nobody defended nothing. And don't even let me talk. I ain't even talk about the Super Bowl because y'all know I don't want to talk about that rigged mess. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, that's really the rundown. And I'm gonna log off soon, but I think I do. You know what? I'm almost at an hour, but I think I am going to still do my letter that came in tonight. This letter is actually from a young man. And like the one last week, he wants to shoot his shot, but it's in a different way. Y'all see, I like how I put that little together, shoot his shot, but it's in a different manner. So, um, This his name is Wes. Well, that's his screen name. That's what he wrote me in the email. And Wes wants advice about this. So I'm not gonna go through the letter. I'm just gonna briefly summarize it, and we can talk about some advice. And you can drop some advice in my messages. You can drop some advice there, or you can, send it to me, and I'll pass it on to him. And if you watch the replay, you can do the same thing. Okay. But Wes works at a corporate office, and y'all, Wes then got himself in a conundrum. Okay, he is in a pickle because he had been it's kind of cliche, but it's not. He had been working late, um, and one of the ladies in the office was working late too. Now, Wes didn't go into details on him and the young lady. He didn't say her name or nothing, but they've been working late and they found themselves flirting. So now Wes is newly out of a relationship, and he's younger than this woman. And this woman is not his direct superior, but she is higher up in the company. And it's been a little flirty going on, and now Wes wants to shoot his shot. He doesn't know what to do. So um it's some things that we don't know. Wes didn't go into details on a whole lot that he has going on. But how do you guys feel about workplace relationships? Me, I as much as he might like her and she might flirt and they might talk and it might be a little kiki and maybe a little lunch, Wes, I would tell you barking up the wrong tree, because workplace relationships can get so messy, so dirty, and then she's older and you're younger and she's your superior. Now, I'm not saying that older woman can't go want a younger man. I'm also not saying that a man has to be above a woman for them to work. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is if you're going to do that, prepare your heart and prepare your mind, because Wes goes on to say how he's really feeling her. They vibe, they have a great vibe, they laugh together, and that's one of the things that he loves about a woman, is if she has a sense of humor, she can laugh. Um, he's very attracted to her. Uh, the older woman got it. She got it going on. He says her body banging, but she thick. So I mean, she must got the Coke. Y'all know the Coke bottle shape. He didn't say all of that, but that's just what I'm imagining. And sometimes we can lead with our eyes and not lead with our brains. Like, so he might be very attracted to her. Now, he didn't say, if they've shared intimate moments or not. That ain't none of my business. But what he has said was they flirt a lot. And he didn't go into details if the older woman is in a relationship or not. I don't know that. But what I can say is being in a workplace relationship can be a little bit messy. So tread lightly, Wes. What would y'all tell Wes? Would y'all tell him to go ahead and shoot his shot with her, or no? I'm saying nah. And if you do, be careful, Wes. Because y'all can start dating, and then you have people in your business, and even as much as private as you want to keep it, somebody's going to find out. um it can just be a mess. And if that's not what you want, especially if you're just coming out of a relationship, I would say tread lightly. And then we don't know her mentality or her mindset, because she is older. If she's going to treat you like, y'all on the same level, or she going to think she's above or whatever. And also, sometimes older women with a younger man just want a boy toy. And if that's what you want to be, Wes, more power to you. But if you want to see something more long term, I would say be very careful and tread lightly, because I don't want Cougar Mama. She might eat you alive and spit you out and throw away the bone, okay? So, Wes, tread lightly when you are going into it with this young lady. And I would even, young lady, but this woman, I would even say watch yourself and being a work husband or work, well, for us being a work wife or a work husband, because listen, that can take you into some dangerous territories as well. You don't want to be anybody's work husband or anybody's work wife, because sometimes those lines can get crossed as well. He say I had a work husband, but I don't feel like I've ever had a work husband, and if I did, I never crossed the line. They never crossed the lines or did anything disrespectful or anything like that. And at the time that he would be referring to, Kimon, I was single, so but it can get a bit messy because sometimes our emotions get into things that it shouldn't really be in. So when you having a work if you have a work husband or a work wife and you have a real husband or a real wife, things can get a little cloudy because some things can go on at home and you go tell your work husband, or in Wes's case, his work wife, and then like they're starting to console you. They're there for you. They taking you out to dinner. They taking you on lunch. They bringing you donuts and coffee, and they're knowing your favorite things, and they're noticing things that maybe your spouse doesn't notice, like when you got a new perfume or he got a haircut and different lineup or whatever. That could blur the lines of your emotions, and it might start off innocent and it can grow into other things. So what's workplace romance, just be very, very, very careful about that. But some people might say shoot your shot, but Tiffany gonna say nah, don't shoot that shot. So just be careful. But I mean, you're a grown man, so you're gonna do what you want to do at the end of the day. But Wes, whatever you decide to do, write us back and let us know so I can tell my people what you decided to do. Because now we're gonna be vested like we are in Teresa Tisa, because we're gonna want to know if you're gonna go out with the cougar, if you want to just be a boy toy, if you didn't fell for her, she didn't put the charm on you, or if this might grow into something beautiful. You never know. But anyway, that's all I got for tonight. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I am going to work out those kinks very soon. But stay tuned for more. I might have some people coming on with me next week. You just never know. This will be closed. Next week will close out my Matters of the Heart series. And the month of March, we are going to be talking about Women's Appreciation Month. So if you're watching and you are a woman in business, you have your own business, or even if you don't, but if you would be interested in sharing your story on my women's during my women's month, please don't hesitate to hit me up. You can send me a DM or you can send me an email at Tiffany Vincent. That's TIFFANY VINCENT 2010 at gmail.com. You can send me if you're interested in being in there. I also want to feature some women's businesses. So if you have a business and you're interested in your business being featured on my Tiff Talk, please don't hesitate to send me your information. And also, the month of March is Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. And in the month of March, I should have saved this dress for then, but I didn't feel like changing clothes, okay? But for the month of March, on my during my women's women's month, I will be wearing orange, and most of the time the people that are on with me will be wearing orange for Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. And if you don't know what it is, stay tuned, you'll learn more about it. But it's very near and dear to me because my sister Ashley is overcoming multiple sclerosis. So for the month, if you or someone you knows are overcoming multiple sclerosis, dealing with multiple sclerosis, has been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and you would like to tell your story, your testimony, or your information when it comes to multiple sclerosis, also known as MS, please don't hesitate to drop it, drop it in the box, or you can hit my inbox, or you can send me a DM, or you can go ahead and email it to me at TiffanyVincent2010 at gmail.com. Y'all have been such an amazing audience tonight. I wasn't able to interact with you because one of my screens flipped and dipped or whatever. So where my screen that I was going to interact, I had to change it out and use that as my one screen. But thank you guys for tuning in. You've been a great audience, and I can't wait to talk to you all next week about more matters of the heart and Black history facts and all that jazz. But you know what? I always say, I love you, but God loves you more. I'll holla. Bye. I hope y'all have a good night.
I'm out. I'm hungry, so I'm about to eat. Bye.